Hey there, I'm Caden Rains and welcome to my basement. Today we're looking at another Animal Crossing set, this Animal Crossing August. And this time we're taking a look at Fly with Dodo Airlines, a roughly 300-piece set, and another one of those I waited to try and get a sale on. If I were a bigger Animal Crossing fan, this might be more interesting to me, but once again, it's mostly the figs that I'm after with this, especially since, even more so than some of the other buildings, this one is much more of just a facade. It's just a corner, really, than even three sides of a building, the way most of the other ones we've looked at have been, even if those other sides haven't been super substantial. So it's just off the bat, that is an issue I have with it. I have that issue with lots of sets that aren't modulars or super expensive, but we like what we like. Let's take a look at the minifigs and then break down the two-ish builds of this set. All right? All right. So here are the two minifigs we get this time. First, we get Wilbur the Dodo, which a dodo is an interesting choice for a character, but whatever. He's got this Dodo Airlines shirt on with the tag and a belt printed on, and then you can see his tail feathers sticking through there. Considering the way the plane's built, which we'll get to in a minute, part of me wonders if one of the like Donald Duck pieces that they use for his tail feathers would have worked on this. I don't think they've ever made it in blue, which I'll have to look into, but because of the way the plane's built, I think he still would have been able to sit with that. I'll have to do some quote unquote research into that, but that might have helped it a little bit, but I don't know. Like I've said before, sometimes the heads on these are a little too specific to be used outside of this line again. Like, so for Wilbur here, I don't know how they could ever use this mold again unless it's like for a polybag or another set that he would come in. And since it doesn't look like at the moment we're getting any more sets, and I don't know how popular Wilbur here is, it just seems like a wasted mold. Which, if you're a big Wilbur fan, I apologize. He's another one of those characters that I don't really know because I only have a passing interest in the games, and it's mostly because of these Lego sets currently. But it'd be one thing if he didn't have the headphones or they're not headphones, but the ear coverings to keep him from being deafened. But because he does, like, that's a very specific look. On the other hand, Tangy, the cat, who is an orange, it's like not just an orange cat, but if you see, she's got like orange pits on her as part of her skin. And when I got this figure, I looked up some. I mean, I had done this before, but I looked up some stuff to make sure I was understanding what I was looking at. And there's just a bunch of food animals in the games. Like there's a rhinoceros that's basically cake, and there's Tangy, who is an orange. And it's just like, okay, that's an interesting sub theme of characters, but more power to you, I suppose. Tangy's cat head here, like the squirrel slash bear head and the fox slash wolf head, and a few others like the Tom Nook head. Those are all usable. I would think, unless they've got a bad deal with with Nintendo, that you could use those in other sets as with a different face printing, obviously, and it would work. Whereas Wilbur, just that's a no go on Wilbur. So I think, and because I'm just a cat person in general, I think I like Tangy more. Although Wilbur has the feet printing for his talons or whatever you want to call it when it's Animal Crossing birds. Yeah. But and I do think Tangy should have, like other minifigs we've talked about in this line, should have something. But it is what it is. I can complain about that every time, but it's not going to change until I get some extra pieces, which won't be for a while because I just ordered a bunch of not spare pieces, a bunch of pieces to finish out the road that's going to run through my city. So that'll be an upcoming thing once those pieces all arrive, and I'm not going to order a bunch of cloth pieces or whatever until that's done. But as usual, the figs are pretty good. I have my one complaint about the legs and clothing, but on the whole, like, they stand out. Tangy stands out from the other cat, Rosie, that we've seen, mostly because of the color. But if you're looking closely and you're seeing the orange pattern, it's a different look, and it's good to have that variety. And even Wilbur, like, even though I said it's kind of a negative on the mold because it's never going to be used again that in any way I can imagine outside of just a repeat of this character, it's still neat. In a couple of years when this hasn't been around for a while, it will be neat to have those in the city. And if someone asks about it, they're like, where's that come from? I've never seen that. And it's like, well, Animal Crossing, son. But anyway, now that we've looked at the minifigures, let's shuffle them off and look at the two builds of this set. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the plane. The Dodo Airlines plane that Wilbur is the pilot of. This is a very simple build. It's got the propeller, it's got the wings. I'm glad they included different colored lights on the tips, but it is nothing to write home about. I have seen the same basic build for most of my experience with Lego, but it's fine. The way they've put these off-center stud pieces in the bottom, these jumpers, modified jumpers basically, allows you to stick not only Wilbur in as the pilot, but you can then, Tangy tries to escape, you can stick another villager in there as well, which makes sense because airlines are usually more about flying than just the pilot. Her tail makes it a teensy bit difficult to get her in, but if you were using a figure that didn't have a tail, it would be easier, but she still goes in, so good. So there they are. It's fine. I'm kind of neutral on it. Again, I think that even though they're facades, the more traditional buildings in the series, the theme of Animal Crossing sets, are what I prefer. So getting another vehicle that I'm not going to do much with is just, it's there. It may just become bricks taken apart in the future. But beyond the plane, we have the airport, quote unquote. So let's look at that. So here is the Dodo Airlines build. Its base is mostly this dock that's built on top of a couple of the water and sand Mario plate or base plates. And so they're supposed to come onto the dock over here somehow. It's kind of blocked off, so I don't know exactly how. And then they go in the door. As usual, I'm glad that they have printed all this stuff. I think that's where the Nintendo money comes in, but go through the door, and then you have like a check-in process. Ticket. You've got a map that's pretty neat here. That'll probably find its way to something else. Let me make that a bit closer for you. But I think that's a pretty good map. I think that should even if that was specifically made for this set, I think it should be used again. I wish we got more of this ticket piece. I mean, even just one more. I know it doesn't necessarily make much sense, but I like this ticket. Yes, it has the Dodo symbol on it, an inverse of what we saw of it on the side of the plane, because in that one, the bird was blue on a white background. I think I like the white on blue better, but it is what it is. But I like having that kind of tile piece that figures can have. So only getting one is a little bit of a bummer. Then once they're all checked in, you've got your boarding gate for them to pass through. Blah, blah, blah. And then the biplane, or whatever kind of plane this is considered, can be stationed right there. And there you go. So it's fine. It is, like I said, it is not my kind of set or building. If this sticks around, like, I have an idea for it right now, but where it's going to stay for the moment. But as I said in a previous video, once I get all of these Animal Crossing sets built, I have ideas for how to condense some of them. That might be that might not be the right word, but this one I don't even know if it's going to stay out, which I hate to do because I've had it a little while and now it's finally built, and then it's like, well, it doesn't really fit with what I'm thinking. So we'll see as I get the rest of it done. One final note is it's got one of these new leaf flags, the same one from the same tiny build from the KK Slider concert set, and this is the alternate one that it gives you instructions for, which is similar in color to the alternate from the KK Slider set, but I think the one from the Slider set is better. This one, I don't even think the instructions gave you like, why don't you make your own flag design like they did with the KK Slider flags. It's just, these are your two designs. So I'm going to keep the leaf up for now. And that's probably what'll stay up if the Airlines as a whole stays up. Because it's just, as far as the buildings go, this is my least favorite so far. Because it is a building, I think I like it more than the purely outdoor sets we've looked at. But it's just not hitting it for me. Like, if I do keep it out, the little air control station will definitely not stay up there. Even though even though that goes against my pseudo-realism expectations. If you're going to have airplanes, you need air control. Well, it looks bad. That's probably my least favorite part of the set. I don't like it there. It just stands out in a bad way to me. So there's my take on it. It's not bad, but it's not great. It is in line with those outdoor sets where it's a build, and it's not terrible, but it's just not great either. So let's find a place on the table for now, see how it looks, and call it a day. All right? All right. So I have once again placed the minifigs, Tangy, and there's Wilbur over there in the concert throng. Meanwhile, the builds are just over here. This is looking like such a mess. I had such a nice grid pattern going, and this series of sets has just kind of thrown me for a loop. Like I said before, I think I know how I'm going to clean it up and generally where stuff is going to go, but I still haven't even finalized if I think I'm going to use these old plate styles or not. But we're almost through. We've got 1.5 weeks left, so let's just keep on keeping on, as they say. But now that we've placed this set somewhere on the table, even though it's obviously not staying there because that looks like a mess, what do you think of the Dodo Airlines set? I think Wilbur and Tangy as minifigs were fine, but it's just an okay set. It's very similar to the outdoor sets, as I've been calling them, in terms of interesting as a build, whereas I think these buildings are more interesting and more what I think of when I think of Animal Crossing, even though I know there's more to Animal Crossing than just the buildings and the villagers. But it's personal preference, so I'd really love to hear down below what you think. If you think this airline set was worth it, or if I shouldn't have bothered, or whether or not you think I should even bother trying to leave it out. I love hearing your opinions, so let me know down below. But either way, I hope you had a good time in my basement today. I'll see you in the next one, and if you haven't, like and subscribe. Until then, later.